What's one thing that other people like but you can't stand? Write in the comments what you think about this. Enjoy the show. Story 1. The whole ASMR thing. First, the videos made specifically for ASMR, such as people whispering or running their hands up and down something to make a noise. I just saw one crazy one that was 45 minutes of some girl doing nothing but adjusting her boyfriend's clothes. No, I didn't watch it. Then there are the videos of something I'm actually interested in learning about, and I soon find it's only there for unintentional ASMR. I first stumbled upon this when I grew curious one day about how a professional barber does a beard shave, and found there are dozens of channels on YouTube about haircuts and shaves concentrating mostly on the sounds it makes. All the comments are about the sound of the scissors and the bristle brushes. I don't get it. It's all creepy to me. And don't get me started on the fake doctor exams. Story 2. I can't stand concerts. Sure, you can watch your favorite artists play their music, but it's too loud. It's too crowded. There are those who throw their beer in the air just because they feel like it, and that's one of the better things to get thrown. They throw their fucking pee in their beer cans or glasses of whatever drink they had. It's just awful. People act like beasts in concerts. It's all right to go crazy, but that's too far in my opinion. Story 3. Food-eating ASMRs. Especially when they start speaking in that whisper tone, oh god, it makes me so mad and annoyed. Like, I get it. Food looks amazing, it makes me hungry too. But when they start slurping and chewing with their mouth open, it triggers something in me, and it's not good. Also, I can't stand those whispering ASMRs. ASMR doctor's appointment, teacher ASMR, etc. It doesn't make me sleepy or relaxed at all. Annoying human mouth noises. Story 4. College and professional sports venues that fill every non-play moment with high-volume music. I think it's usually done in an attempt to amp up the energy level of the crowd. I'm not a big sports fan in general, but will attend games when the family wants to go, but usually wind up feeling isolated because I can't hold a conversation when play is stopped, and I'm not all that interested in paying attention when play is happening. Story 5. Current-day movies and TV shows. I have reverted to watching older TV shows like Twilight Zone and up to anything around 2010. I can't stand all the BS story writing and the political posturing in most shows these days. They have horrible writing, no plotline, no character development. I just don't get anything out of it. I actually watch, not sit on the couch to vegetate. Story 6. Mint and chocolate. My sister was a Girl Scout, and for some reason, for a few years, my parents would always end up with several cases of extra cookies. Flash forward to 10-yo-me looking for snacks, and wouldn't you know it, the only thing left after the tag-alongs, do-si-dos, and Samoas were cleaned out was always the Thin Mints. So I'd eat those, boxes and boxes over the years when no other chocolate was in the house. I came to hate mint and chocolate. I want warm, creamy goodness, and all I'd get is this menthol bitter crunch. I won't touch the stuff anymore in any format. Story 7. Yoga. I was an athlete growing up, and I did all of my stretching and exercises on my own. Shot put, discus, javelin. Having someone yak in my ear for a freaking hour while I am trying to exercise is not relaxing. It's annoying as F. I come out pissed off. I was in a therapy group, and part of our sessions was yoga. I just wanted to tell the person to STFU. I eventually opted out of that part. I told the instructor that if they just wrote down what they wanted me to do, I would do it. Which was fine, but I can't have one yapping at me the entire time. Story 8. Make plans in which you are not included in front of you. I'm not talking about spending a day with family or some other friend. I don't have a problem with that. I mean when you're in a group setting with other people, and they start making plans with each other that clearly don't involve you. Nobody even asks if you would like to come along. They just sort of forget about you. I consider that very rude. It can be misleading, and it's not right to make someone feel awkward like that. At least make your plans when I'm not in your presence, instead of pretending that I'm not. I made the mistake of thinking that I was friends with certain groups of people, only to find out that they all hung out or went somewhere without me. They would often make plans right in front of me, and I would pretend not to notice in order to fit in. It's not worth it. Story 9. Drinking and smoking. I've tried both, and they just make me super sick and causes so much physical pain for me that it's not worth it. I can feel my blood pressure rise, my body break down the sugars in alcohol, and the nicotine just making me anxious and nauseous. I always joke that the hardest thing I drink is a soda on occasions or an energy drink every few months, but I stopped asking for soda when getting fast food. Always thought it was required, but that's just my autism brain. I brew my own herbal teas and carry a half-gallon jug of water everywhere I go. Story 10. Lie. When I was a kid, I used to lie all the time and thought it meant that I was clever. Then I read a book, wish I could remember the title, in which it said, "All lies come from weakness." This I took as a personal insult, but the thought nagged at me until I finally saw the truth behind it. If you are truly strong, you can always live with the truth. Weak people lie because the truth is something that they cannot handle. The truth about themselves, about the world, or their place in it. Weak people are afraid of the truth, so they lie. I do not lie anymore, and I do not respect people who do, because they are weak. Story 11, Capitalistic Media. Some things just really feel like they are only made for money and don't have anything else behind it to make it better than it is. This is most obvious in big industry things, like Marvel and Disney. All their work is empty, and anyone who has at least one functional brain cell can see that. But I also feel this about T.S. and Harry Styles. T.S.'s newest album felt no different than the Reputation one. To me, Swifties don't come at me. When H.S. released his new album, I listened, and I literally said, "This sounds like it belongs as the background of advertisements." This is mostly just my taste. I can still see that yes, it's music that's good. I could not do better. It just feels like it's meant to be as popular as it can be. I'm just very much a fan of passion projects. Story 12. Boating. Seems everyone around me is fascinated with going out on the lake for hours at a time Friday after work till late, getting up and doing it again Saturday. Sure, I can enjoy it once in a while, but damn, I'm not a fish. And I don't particularly enjoy the same people's company for that long of a time. Even if I really like you, I need some variety in my life. I feel like I'm an ungrateful friend when I don't want to go and do that same boring-ass shit every weekend. I'd rather stay home alone than do that every weekend. Story 13. It's not that I can't stand it, but I do find it interesting what stories people think count as interesting enough to tell other people. The second layer of interesting is how they tell it. I'll often strip the story of all inflection in my head as they tell it, and you realize it's just a very mundane story. My sister asked if she could go to the mall, and I'm just like, no. Your sister asked if she could go to the mall, and you said no. People get worse in arguments. They don't have a good reason for their argument, so they just say it in an angry way. And usually people on both sides of the argument don't realize the argument doesn't make sense. They might as well just say, "I don't like it." And if they want to add an extra layer of honesty, they could add, "And it makes me angry, and I'm not sure why yet." Story 14. Honestly, men who just dates around are breaking hearts. I date for marriage, and fortunately I have found her. She was my first girlfriend, and she was my first, and I was hers. And we've been married for 6 years and counting, and we're also planning to have kids soon. Boys, there will be a woman out there who just gets you and accepts all of you, and if you were to ever find them, then you'll be lucky and happy for the rest of your life. Story 15. I will list multiple things. I hope I don't come across as a hateful or bitter person. Mint chocolate. The taste clashes and it feels wrong. I have weird combinations of food that I like, but they still complement each other, but most Westerners seem to love it. That song, Dance Monkey, the singer's voice is irritating. It's like a cat got caught inside a vacuum cleaner. On the topic of songs, Post Malone, not as a person, but face tattoos, and from the look of it, personal hygiene or the lack thereof. Electronics unboxing videos where people are too sensual in removing the screen protector. Do that on your own time. Rugby, where I live, it's such a massive sport, but it's something that doesn't seem to have a flow. The ball is weirdly shaped and doesn't have rhythm. On that same note, basketball, the game itself isn't too bad. Not my cup of tea, but the shoes squeaking on floor drives me crazy. Story 16 rom-com of any kind. I don't know why, but it's like watching a film you've never seen, but you know exactly how the story goes and what the end will be, and I don't do cheesy LOL. I know you asked for one thing, but I have two, but equally can't be bothered with. It's horror, scary movies. Well, in particular, slasher-type films. It's not that they scare me, it's just how is that enjoyable or entertaining? It's just constant screams and blood and guts everywhere. I don't get how it's enjoyable. Story 17, most dairy, ranch, pickles, mayonnaise, BBQ sauce, and pork. I don't hate dairy. Fruity yogurt and ice cream are great. I just think cheese, for example, is an overwhelmingly strong flavor. The small sprinkle put on a taco is just right for me. It should be an accent touch, not the core of the meal. I shouldn't be taking a big old bite of cheese, and people just go way too hard with it. And honestly, that's how I feel about most of these things I don't care for. They're just so heavy-handedly done. For pickles, I enjoy other pickles veggies, and I've had a pickle here or there that are okay, but my God, anything with dill is revolting. With pork, so I can occasionally do pork chops from the loin, but pulled pork, not great. Ham literally makes me gag. Add on top of that, and I learned this well after I didn't like pork in life, that the Aztecs took one bite of the Spaniards' pork and said, "Oh, this tastes like human." Coincidentally, or maybe not, many things about pigs are used as human analogs, their insulin, their skin, organs, etc. I just don't need to be eating food that tastes porky. Story 18. There's hundreds of things, but I'll go with game genres. JRPGs and RPGs. Pokemon is the slim exception, and it's hardly either of those, kinda its own genre at this point. I just can't stand them. I hate the pacing, gameplay, and well, I'm just not into role-playing anything. Can't stand D&D either. I find it extremely boring and tedious to uphold a schedule to play it for hours a day weekly. The other genre of games I detest is FPS games. Not just because I'm shit at them, but because I hate competitive focused games. No one is allowed to have fun, and you can only try hard. I literally just started learning the game. Sorry, I'm not an esports omniscient god at picking up new games and their mechanics on a whim. Call me a noob. Tell me to get good. If I'm playing for fun, not to win every single game. I'd rather lose all day and have the best time of my life than to win constantly and be bored and stressed from focusing too hard on a meaningless game. Call me a feeder. At least I love what I do. And don't melt down in anger because I lost a game that holds no bearing on my reality. Games are meant to de-stress and escape, not make you want to destroy your setup. They ain't that serious, even if you're really passionate that it is. Story 19. Listening to music as its own pastime. I have literally no idea how people can just sit or stand there listening to a piece of music. Like, what do I do while it's playing? I just feel like I sit there stone-faced until it's over and have nothing more to say or think about it. Then it's all right. I don't feel any real emotion or sensation to so much music, and one of my friends who's big into music regularly puts something on, acting like it's the entire world happening around him, nodding to it, swinging his hand to it, occasionally singing along with a lyric, while I'm stood there wondering why we had to stop our conversation for 4 minutes so he could put on something that shrieks out of his phone speaker. I can't even make out the lyrics of most songs until I've got a write-up in front of me, but it feels like others seem capable of reciting entire songs after 1 or 2 plays. Story 20. Whistling. I hate whistling in all forms. Being salty about my not being able to whistle is part of it, but I also just generally dislike shrill noises. Stop. On Sunday, I was at church as the worship team was setting up. One of the worship leaders was noodling on his guitar to warm up, which was fine. But he was also whistling along, and he was doing it over someone else's conversation. The pastor is standing 3 feet away trying to give directions to someone else about something, and here's Kevin just whistling loudly and aimlessly directly into the microphone. It felt like when one person is counting out loud and someone starts shouting out random numbers to mess them up because they think that's funny. Spoiler alert, it isn't. Kevin is generally a chill guy. I'm not sure why his social radar was turned off. I might need to become an atheist. Story 21. Social media influencers. They upload videos on some of the dumbest topics I've ever heard of, yet somehow manage to have several million subs? Are a majority of those subs fake bot accounts? Or does everyone get brainwashed into smash that like button and subscribe whenever they hear it? It's ridiculous how many videos I see where they're practically begging for likes, subs. Or worse, they try guilt-tripping everyone into doing it because only a small amount of my viewers subscribe. Want my like and sub? Put out content that's actually informative and quality, not videos filled with random screaming and irritating video effects, stupid, and often dangerous challenges, fake rumors about X game has this, or especially the disgusting food challenges. Story 22. Where to begin? Sports. I get bored to tears watching football, golf, or soccer. The only sports I like watching once in a blue moon are women's Olympic gymnastics and ice skating. Influencers. I can't believe the number of people who trust influencers. Unless they are just starting out, they are just walking, talking advertisements for the companies they work for or own. This includes everyone with a doctor in front of their name. The Kardashians, and everyone that is like them, sitcoms, reality shows, politicians, pop music, except some songs from the 80s, country, R$B/hip-hop rap, post-grunge/radio rock new metal, brightly colored clothing and decor. Story 23. Wood smoke. I'm amazed at how many people still don't get how unhealthy it is to burn wood and charcoal. The PM2.5 particulate matter emitted by wood smoke is horrible for one's health and the planet. I had to sue my one set of neighbors to keep them from filling my home and yard with their fireplace smoke. They were burning at all hours of the day and night. Who uses their fireplace at 3:30 a.m.? Why would anyone think it's okay to force their neighbors to inhale smoke? Every time you breathe in wood smoke, you're harming your lungs, heart, and brain. It's so stupid that people still burn wood and hang out around barbecue smoke. Story 25. Small dogs. These things used to be wolves. They're just so useless to me. And why are you allowed to take them everywhere, but if I bring my GSD somewhere, PPL freak out? Designer handbags. So much money for something that a grocery bag can do. American Idol or any show like it. It's just so cringe to watch people sing that are not pros. It just feels so masturbatory how they sing and move, especially when they do that head thing. Story 26. People taking pictures of food. My sister does this, and it annoys the crap out of me. She'll take a picture of my food, hers, and anybody else's at the table, and I can't take a bite until she's done that. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be a McDonald's burger, but she has to take a picture. Just let me eat my damn food. Edit. Only time I don't mind is when it is actually a really nice-looking dish, like some fancy sushi that comes on a nice tray or something, because that does make for a nice picture TBH. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Be sure to write comments and share your stories.